Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call halal, Yahab Bashim, Yahushua Bashim, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles at the S. Salutations to the elect. Salute to also the men, women, and children that believe are the 1/3. Want to drop this video today on this Mother's Day bullshit, which really go back to the worship of the woman, the Queen of Heaven spirit. But shit is getting twisted, which ultimately goes back to ancient Babylon. In Rome, it was Rhea, different deities. But ultimately, it goes back to ancient Babylon, which is Tammuz, which is what? You had Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz, a major three. But and there's different stories like amongst those three that goes into the pagan worship. But Mother's Day actually goes back to Semiramis. So do Easter, the fertility goddess. Ishtar, that's what Easter goes back to. That's why that's why you deal with the eggs. And what's part of the woman's reproductive system? That's the eggs. So the fertility goddess. But today's Mother's Day goes back into pagan worship, and really that's not of the scriptures. We don't worship women. Man is the head when you go into it. I'm gonna jump back here. Let's get 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it reads, "But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the man, Salaki, and the head of Yahushua is God, right? Yahweh, the Father." So that's the order, But men put women on pedestals all year round. They put them on pedestals, and women don't respect you when you put them on a pedestal. They look down upon you because it was in their nature to be followers behind who? Their man. So anytime a woman is on the same level as you, like they make as much money as you, or they make more money than you, or they got more status than you, they tend to look down on you and lose respect for you. Because at the end of the day, women want a man that dominates them, that's assertive, that that has boundaries, that'll tell her what to do. Now, they will secretly tell you this if you push their card and like dig into it. But if you ask them like what a woman like, they're gonna tell you like societal bullshit. Why? Because they don't want to be viewed as an outcast. Women are like hive-minded creatures. So, but what they'll tell you, oh, buy me roses, don't judge me, listen to me, talk nice to me, and be nice to me. But that's why they say nice guys finish last. Women always respect the man that has boundaries, that's assertive, know what he want, where he's going, what he want to do, that's dominant, you know, that's controlling to a bit, that's willing to rule over her and take the lead. And women typically, you know, is shorter than men, even on a physical scale. They're shorter than men. They're the weaker vessel. So anytime you take the weaker vessel and put them and make them more powerful, then their head, they ain't gonna respect them, and that's what's going on in this society. So in order really to get, and once a woman don't respect you, it's over. They gotta respect you first and then love you. If a woman don't respect you, she can never love you. And the scriptures, 90% of the time, it tell the woman to what? Reverence their husband. And it tell a man to what? To love their wife. Because their form of love ultimately comes through what? Respect. You know? But in this society, they tell you to what? To pedestalize a woman. As soon as you do that, she automatically despises you. It's in her nature to do it. But, and they can't help it, you know. But that's the order, Hey, I tell brothers, date down. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you date, I mean, if some chick you just sleeping with, whatever, but if you date a woman that's across from you, like, you know, or like she's taller than you, or like she might try you, like, you know what I'm saying? They gonna try you anyway, but you gotta stand your ground, or make way more bread than you, got more status and clout than you, and, drive a better car than you, make as much or more money than you. She gonna come at you sideways, and she gonna have less respect for you majority of the time. Now you have your exceptions, but majority of the time, and they gonna give you an incentive to be with them. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna feel as though they settled for you. You know, and that incentive is what? Celebrate these pagan holidays. You gotta do, cause you even got brothers out there that's simping on the low. And they'll tell themselves, oh, well, we in this setup, we in this hell, like, what can we do? That's just what I gotta deal with. I notice brothers say that shit, not shit, because it is factual, but that's like a universal Israelite cop-out to when it's time for you to man up, or when you dealing with bullshit that you don't necessarily have to deal with, and that you should be girding up your loins, like the scriptures say. Like the Lord told Job, like, deal with this shit. Stand for something. The Lord said, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? You don't just say, man, now we all got shit we deal with. But I know this brothers, man, that's just what I got to deal with. That's the hell the Lord put me through. That's a cop-out. I don't just deal with this, fuck it. But at the same time, you bitching and complaining about the situation. Oh, man, she did this, or this is happening, this and that. Oh, I thought it was, because I thought it was what you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I thought that's what the Lord said. Well, if you really psychologically accept that, then what the fuck you complaining about? That's your lot, right? 1034. Think not that I come to send peace on earth, but I came not to send peace, but a sword. And that sword represents division when you go back into Luke 21 and 15. 21 and 51, Salakia. And for I am set, and he coming to bring judgment too. That's twofold. For I am come to set man at variance, meaning at differences, against his father. Because your father might be in Islam or some other religion. And the daughter against her mother. Right. And a sister might come in the truth, and she might not deal with these different holidays, or like, because the truth separates you from the world. So people that's in the world going to not like you. They're not going to cleave unto you. They're going to think you weird. They're going to despise you. And daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Because if your wife led you into the truth, and you stopped buying your mother's Christmas gifts every year, and you bought her nice diamond gifts, diamond rings, or I'm going to use Mother's Day, for example. Like you spend say your brother with some little bread, you spend $5 to $7 grand on a gift for her every year. And she been getting these gifts for the last 13 years since you've been like a grown man working in your field and running your business. If you stop doing that shit based upon her leading you into the truth, it's going to be heavy, like, ruckus and division amongst that, amongst what? Your wife and your mother. That shit going to get what? Things going to get split up. The family is split up anyway. And a man's foe shall be day of his own household. So what? You being basically friends of the world dealing with this. But you supposed to what? You supposed to lead. You know what I mean? And women see, a lot of dudes is bitches, and women can see that, man, because they dealt with rough dudes before. They dealt with the thugs. Man, fuck that. I ain't going there. Like, oh, go get me some checkers. Well, it's a Wendy's right here. Man, bitch, I say get me some Checkers. I don't give a fuck where you got to drive. Okay. Like, they dealt with assertive dudes before. Man, you better look in some of the, like, that's what these chicks is attracted to, because it's actually really a survival traits. A dude that was assertive, dominant, because when society wasn't up how it is now with technology, you had to have a strong man that was able to ensure your survival. And what these thug ass niggas got, even though it's left hand side, they have survival traits. They willing to die, they willing to fight, they willing to shoot. A lot of them work out, a lot of them box and train. They got this edge to them. You know what I'm saying? So even if they got hurt, even if their woman got hurt, they could pick them up, they could carry them, they could build a house for them to live, they could build shelter. If a fucking mountain lion jumped out of the wilderness, they was big enough or strong enough to fight them off. So it's actually survival traits, you know, but it's more modernized. And Esau tell you to be a little punk ass bitch, and not knowing that's gonna turn your woman off and dry her vagina up faster than a fucking Sahara Desert. When you behave and when you act like that. Me personally, I'm an asshole. A straight up asshole. And the woman I deal with love it. And it's not that I try to be an asshole. That's just who I am. And as I learn the truth, you know, it makes me more edgy. You know, and the chicks that left me and that I used to deal with still love me. Cause and the dudes, the simps and suckers that they date, you know, I don't come back around to them. But they might hit me fucking once every 3-4 months. Hey, what you doing? Especially around my birthday or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why these women so damaged. But these simps and suckers they deal with, they repulsed by them. You know, they been alpha widowed. That's what it goes to. And 32, whosoever thou shalt confess me before men, him will also I confess before my Father which is in heaven. But whoso deny me before men, him also will I defy before my Father is in heaven. So what? You're supposed to confess the Lord and what you stand for, not on your job or in a not uncomfortable, but in the you know, where you gotta be as wise as a serpent, harm as a dove. But in your everyday personal life, you're supposed to stand for the Lord, make mention of the Lord. You know, so the Lord will make mention of you before his Father, Yahweh. When it's time to plead your case, he's basically our lawyer. You know. So in a world where they shit on Yahweh Shai and everything he stand for, it's supposed to be the other way around, where you standing for him in this world, right? This is the point, 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So there you go again. If you choose your mother, your daughter, over the son, and what the love is, meaning you pick them over them. All right, Shalom, I'm about to hit the plant. You pick them over them, right? And he that take not his cross and follow after me is worthy of me, because that's going to be burdensome, you know, to do that. Let me get Jeremiah 44:19. And women know, man, by the way, women know, like, nigga, ain't you supposed to be an Israelite? You ain't supposed to be celebrating this. And when because they'll shit test you. They'll throw something out, and it's in women's nature to do that, to make sure you stand on your word. Because if you, going back to the primitive days, if you wasn't a solid man, her whole fucking life depended on that. If you was a pussy or a bitch, you wasn't able to deal with danger or death or shit like that. You was scared of snakes and spiders, and you was a pussy, you or a fucking dog got loose, you'll run away, leave your son and her there because you was a coward. So women will shit test you to see if you stand, if you solid. So a chick can see like, oh, you an Israelite. They'll meet you, you an Israelite. You don't do this, you don't do that. But she be like, as time goes on, she'll do certain things to see if you will go against your God for her. You know what I mean? Just how Eve did. And basically, once you do that, you a fucking sitting duck. She know you're not solid. She know you don't stand upon your word. You cut camp early to go chill with her. You not go to camp. You not go do a study, or you start you go to her on some fucking Mother's Day concert and shit, knowing she know damn well you don't want to be there, and she asks you why you don't celebrate. You be like, yo, it's against the Most High ultimately. You know what I'm saying? It goes back into pagan worship, you know? And once they see that you do this, they know you a pussy automatically. And they know, okay, I could get him to go against his God. And even if you look at it or she view it as a small thing, she know like how deep she could go. And from there, they work on you and getting you out of the truth. Ultimately, they be like, okay, you know what I mean? He gave me an inch. I'm going to try to go a mile. I'm going to try to get him. He celebrated this holiday. I'm going to try to get him celebrate Christmas. Tell him, get him all in the New Year spirit. I'm going to start getting him to come to camp late. I'm going to start getting him to leave early. I'm going to start getting him to miss camp. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start interrupting his fucking studies or when he want to do videos and shit like that. And before you know it, your ass, that's why I tell brothers, do not, unless you plan on having kids or have children, don't move with a woman. Keep your shit and let her keep her shit. And really, even if you have kids, it's best to be like that. But, you know, in this setup, in this society, it's best to raise your kids in a two-parent home. Because we don't have like a compound where she got a house in the back, right? So, and then when they during their pregnancy and all that, it's a little different. But this go back to Jeremiah 44:19. And when we burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings into her, which is libations, right? And that's how you know that's Israelites, right? Because Jakes do that today. They pour out for the dead homies, you know, the 40-ounce bottles and all of that, like in honor of the dead homies. When you drink, you pour a little, that Jay-Z shit. We cop listed and twisted cap, twisted tapping twice, pour it to the pavement. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I still do that shit as an old like hood habit, right? Drink offerings into her. Did we make her cakes to worship her and poured out drink offerings in her with our men, right? This is Jeremiah 7:18. The children gather wood, right? People gonna be under the like candlelight dinners. People gonna be in the fucking woods with their fire pits, right? And the women need their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. So the Lord, he don't take this lightly. You know? The Lord don't take this lightly. And what? You supposed to honor your mother and father. Really, it's your father and mother. I'm going to get that. Because Mother's Day in this society come before Father's Day. You're supposed to honor them all year round. You know, not when the world say do it. You people got to stop being slaves. You know, you got something like, hey, your father or your mother, you know, whatever your relationship is, you got a little money and a little time, do something nice for them. You know, right? Get them a plaque made. You know, little wooden plaque. You write, tell them how much you appreciate them or something like that. You know, give them a hug. Go get her hair done, get her nails done or some shit. She seen a movie out, like, fuck it, I'm gonna take my mother out to see this movie. I'm going fishing today. I'm gonna take my father with me, right? So, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord honor. The Lord like the shit, things like that. You know. Let me get Exodus 20 and 1. Kaba, Abaka, Wa, Amaka. Honor thy mother and father. That's in the Hebrew. But I've been doing a Passover service for so many years. If y'all don't know that the Ten Commandments is part of the Passover service. And I just learned it. I studied it and learned it. So when the Passover come around, I ain't got to find the paper, read off the paper and all that. But anyway, verse 12, 20 and 12. Honor thy father first and thy mother. So thy father come first. Abba, the strength of the house. Ah is a cattle. Alap is the form of a cattle. The Lashawan Kadash and Ba by Yafa's house, strength of the house, right? Because a cattle is known for like its strength. Like that's why they call a man like a young buck, right? Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy power give thee. Right, so you live long on the earth, honoring thy father and mother, and Father's Day should come first, right? But we in a society where what women is moving into men's space, but guess what? Shit is being fucking reversed. Men is moving into women's space, you know, and other things is like case in point now, you have these transformers, right? I don't think it's gonna be too much of a Mother's Day, right? Because you got these transformers out of the LGBT. I think the one people gonna sleep on out of all them letters is the T, because you got men, not too much of the woman that's turning into men, but the men that's turning into women, you know? But so you got these transformers that I'm on the phone. You got these transformers that they celebrating Mother's Day, right? So they moving into almost lost my train of thought. People, I should have I'm in a car and shit, should have like stayed upstairs or just like drove away type shit. Knew Satan was gonna come in some type of way. But they moving into women's space, right? Because there's hella benefits to being a woman. And Esau allowing men to turn into women. You don't even need a sex change. Just dress up like one. And I'll give you all the goodies of the world. That's how Satan coming with his shit. So you got men that's dressed up as women that's claiming to be mothers. And they going to these events and they taking all the prizes and praises. They adopting kids and all of that shit, right? And turning into, they getting the changes and all of that, right? And turning into women physically by appearance and taking all of their shit. So this shit is getting wild. You know what I'm saying? So, what's that? 51, Jeremiah 51 and 30? Yeah. I ain't pull this out in a minute. 51 and 30. The mighty men of Babylon had forborne to fight. They became effeminized. And when this war kick off, you're going to see that on a large scale. They have remained in their holes. Their might has failed. They became as women. So that they have burned their dwelling places, her bars are broken. So that's just showing you how America, it's twofold, going back to old Babylon and the modern day America, because America is Babylon the Great. It's the perfect outline of old Babylon. They have became as women, like literally through the sex changes, or through being effeminized, or through just dressing up as a woman and being demasculated by this society. And you look around at these dudes, that's what hey, what you think? I mean, men, the real masculine men, like the millennials, people came up like in the 80s and 90s, people around my age, I'm 38, anywhere from 38 to 45, people up in that age bracket, like, that's whoever still got some masculine bone in their body. Women are complaining about, they can find a man, but they can't find masculinity. They complaining about how weak these fucking dudes are and how they don't want to like commit to them. So chicks is like, man, I'll just be a lesbian. Or they just playing dudes because you don't see no rough, edgy, dude like DMX spirit type dude. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying be left-handed like that, but that rough edge to them, you know? Let me get I'm gonna close this out. Let me get Luke 11:27. Right? And it came to pass as he spoke these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, blessed is the womb that bare thee and the paps that thou hast sucked. So he started praising his mother. That's that Queen of Heaven spirit. But what the Lord said, he shut that shit down. But he said, yeah, rather, blessed are they that hear the word of Yahweh and keep it. So, and the word of Yahweh is actually him, but also the actual words being spoken. If you dig deep, it's actually him, right? And keep it. So he shut it down, right? Because she like, fuck you and what you doing. You don't get no props. Bless your mother that carried you. She the one that get the props. And the Lord shut that shit down, you know? So the Lord wasn't with no woman worship spirit, you know? Following the Queen of Heaven. You know, and that's what men worship. They worship ass and titties, right? That's what they worship. The vagina, the womb. The womb, really the womb is like, that's because a man got an ass, right? It ain't talk about, it's really talk about the woman's genetic makeup, the woman herself. That's why he said the womb that bared you, meaning the pussy he came out of, right? And the titties. And that's what men worship, ass and titties. And they willing to go against Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for that. You know, you best believe it. You even got brothers in the truth, or call themselves being in the truth. They willing to go against the Lord for that. And how sucker is it, right? Now think about this shit. Your woman got a baby by another man. Think about that shit. They don't get no more used than a single mother. Like, bad enough, like I tell brothers this shit, bad enough your woman fucked another man. That's terrible. If you got a ruling class mentality, this separates kings from peasants by the mentality. Now, we all kings, but it's the way you think, right? Bad enough your woman fucked another man. Multiple men before she met you. And God and Lord knows what that number truly is. Okay, fine, we deal with that. You know, we all adulterers, whatever. But if your woman had a baby by another man, a baby, that is the greatest gift a woman could give a man, is a baby. A healthy son or a healthy daughter. Primarily the son, though, so he could carry on his lineage. So he could carry on his line. Right? That's the greatest gift. And now you want some stepdaddy shit. Right? I don't recommend you doing that shit. You know how hard it is to raise your own kids? You know how hard it is, or you know how better your life can be? And I'm not saying seek liberty in this fucking kingdom or like a great life, but hey, use wisdom. You know, the scripture says, it's a wise saying, he who suffers before is necessary suffers more than necessary. Like, yo, use wisdom. Be as wise as a serpent. You know, raising kids is could be a difficult thing. A lot of things get put on hold. A lot of, you can't go here, you can't go there. You got to babysit and all this other shit, right? You got the wife is this and that. Like, you a family man. Now you telling me you gonna do that shit for to raise another man's kid? And not just that, a lot of you dudes, right? A lot of these fucking men out there, right? You don't even have a baby with this woman. Think about this. This what the thinking man do, right? You don't even have a baby with this woman. This is a pagan holiday. And you celebrating her being fucked and impregnated by another man. Think about that. Now, for brothers in the truth and brothers out of the truth, you going against God for this woman. 1. 2, you don't have a baby with her. At least have a baby with her. You be like, yeah, mothers, I ain't promoting it, but this a Jake cop out. My thing is, well, she had my kid too. She had 2 by this nigga, 1 by this other nigga. 1 is bad enough. And then she had her 3rd son and her 4th son by me, right? So then you be like, that's why I celebrate Mother's Day. This is what a worldly nigga say. I be like, all right, nigga, the Lord's still gonna kill you. You need to repent, but nigga, all right, whatever. But you got men out there who don't even have children with these chicks. And they celebrating them being a mother, not the mother of your child. And these women normally check out some of these dudes, especially Israelites. Check out some of these baby fathers and dudes they be having. Salakia. Check out some of these baby fathers and dudes these chicks be having kids with. They be burnt. They don't be no prestigious dude. Not even in the truth. They don't be like no stand-up, respectable guy. Hell no. Them motherfuckers be low lives. The bottom of the barrel. Baltimore, Pennsylvania Ave, Brownsville, Brooklyn, Thoroughbred, shit like that. North Philly, Compton, Watts, Compton, shit. They gangbanger, drug dealer, killer. That's who they be having babies with. And you're gonna celebrate, you're gonna celebrate the day she gave her womb away. Woo! Now, this what the brothers say. Yeah, man, you know, that's just what we gotta deal with. See, we all got shit we pick and choose, you know, that way. Hey, you wanna deal with that shit? Fuck it, be my guest. Listen, I dated single mother before, and, you know, I at first, this was years ago, before the truth, or I just came in. I know, because nobody shamed or warned me about the ins and outs of having an already made family, an Insta family and shit like that. So I had to find out later. I'll try to do that stepdad shit. That shit blew up in my face. In every one situation that it worked out, I could show you 1,000 that didn't. Or where things turn out that seems to be okay. I can show you 1,000 that didn't. But yeah, the Lord ain't with that. That shit is dishonorable. This is Sirach 23. verse 21 through 23. Right? On single mothers. The Lord ain't with that shit. It was no single mothers. Like, if a woman divorced, all the kids stay with the father, right? Then if she did adultery, she was like stoned to death. Then like if you couldn't put away a woman except for adultery. If you try to bring an ill name upon her, you was chastised, and then you had to go back home to your wife and keep her all the days of your life. Then the family of the wife was like angry and upset with you. So you had to eat that. You had to wear that. You know? So the Lord wasn't with that shit. You know, they got a saying, you treat me like a stepchild, right? This is Sirach 23, 21 through 23. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and when he suspected not, he shall be taken. Thus shall it go with the wife that leaveth her husband and bring in heirs by another. Check this shit out. Check it out. For first, she have disobeyed the laws of the Most High. Yeah, you jumping from man to man. Oh, he got boring, this and that. Secondly, she had transgressed against her own husband. And thirdly, she had played the whore in adultery and bought children by another man. So that was shame, even by the Most High. You know what I'm saying? That was shame. So, it still is. But in this world, it's praise. So I just find it crazy, like, you got guys out here that's celebrating their woman being fucked and impregnated by a low-life ass nigger and gonna put them on a pedestal for that shit. Not me. Hey, with that, man, I'm out of here. I could go on and on with this. Probably prepare for another video. Got a couple errands to run. With that, shalom. Hope that was edifying to the elect. Shalom.